Cameras are storytellers. Some whisper, some shout, but the rarest among them sing a song that lingers in your heart long after the shutter has fallen silent. Have you ever held a camera and felt something? Not just the weight in your hands, but a connection, like it was whispering to you, let's create something beautiful today. That's the feeling the Nikon D3000 gives you. It's not just a camera. It's a time capsule, a quiet, unassuming companion that captured light in a way that felt like poetry. And yet most people don't even realize what makes it so special. The Nikon D3000 was one of those rare cameras. Nikon D3000 was the swan song of Nikon's CCD journey. Released in 2009, it wasn't just a DSLR, it was the last chapter in Nikon's love affair with the CCD sensor. Therefore, it holds a place not only in the history of photography but in the hearts of those who've experienced its magic. With its 10.2 megapixel sensor, it wasn't about overwhelming specs, it was about delivering images that felt right. And even today, those who experienced it often describe it as having a feeling like magic. Take a look at the images in this video. Every photo shared here is unedited, uncropped, and straight out of the camera, capturing pure moments just as they were. The images from a CCD sensor have this indescribable quality, tonality that feels rich, colors that feel alive, and a texture that's almost cinematic. It's not just nostalgia, it's something tangible, something that resonates with photographers even today. The D3000 wasn't alone in its magic. Before the D3000, there was the D40. Small, approachable, and quite a revelation for amateur photographers. Then came the 200, a camera that elevated Nikon's CCD to a broader audience. The D40 gave beginners a chance to create art, while D200 offered more control for enthusiasts. Together, these cameras created a lineage of CCD masterpieces that are now cherished relics in the photography world. They weren't just about sharpness or dynamic range. They were about the intangible, the emotional. They made you feel something. Nikon D3000 wasn't the most advanced camera of its time, nor was it the most celebrated. But it marked the end of an era where photography was as much as about emotion as it was about precision. These CCD cameras, D40, D200, D3000, they remind us of a time when capturing a moment wasn't just about documenting reality, but about creating something beautiful, something lasting. Some cameras don't just take pictures, they tell stories. They capture not only light but also the feelings, the fleeting moments we wish to hold forever. The Nikon D3000 was one such camera. Unfortunately, it marked the end of an era for Nikon, as it was the last DSLR equipped with CCD sensing. As I mentioned, it wasn't just another camera. To me, it was like a last love letter to the artistry of photography. These cameras weren't just tools. They were companions for those who wanted more than precision. They wanted poetry. The CCD sensors in these cameras rendered light in a way that felt organic, alive. Colors were more than accurate, they were evocative, like the tones of an oil painting. Let's talk about CCD sensors. Before CMOS sensors took over the industry, CCD sensors were the heart and soul of photography. Cameras like D40, D200 used these sensors to create images that were nothing short of magical. The colors had a depth, a richness, a painterly quality that modern sensors often lack. Greens felt like the first breath of spring, reds like the embers of a fading fire. Every photo seemed to carry an emotion, a memory, a legacy. Progress doesn't always preserve beauty. Modern CMOS sensors brought incredible advancements, better low light performance, higher frame rates, and more flexibility, but in the process, something intangible was lost. The CCD sensors in cameras like D40, D200, and D3000 weren't just capturing light, they were interpreting it, painting it with a softness and warmth that felt timeless. Shadows weren't just dark, they were velvety. Highlights didn't glare, they glowed. The colors, shadows, the highlights, they feel like memories rather than mere photographs. The D3000 wasn't trying to be perfect, and that's exactly what made it special. It embraced the imperfections that make life and photography so beautiful. So the next time you come across a Nikon D3000 or its CCD siblings, remember they're not just cameras, they're storytellers from a bygone era. They capture light in a way that made us fall in love with photography all over again. If you ever used one, you know what I mean. And if you haven't, maybe it's time to discover what you've been missing.